Welcome to Seawaywhiskywire. Tonight on the bar, we've got the Crossborder Jackpot whiskey from Proof and Wood. Stay tuned. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming back after the intro. I'm Tyler, and tonight on the bar I've got a really interesting whiskey here from my friends at Proof and Wood. They were nice enough to send us over to the channel for review, and this is the Crossborder Jackpot whiskey. 777, you can see the slot machine image on there, and that is for 7-year-old Canadian blended whiskey, 7-year-old Canadian rye whiskey, and 7-year-old American rye whiskey. So it's a blend of those three types of whiskeys there, all into one there, all aged at a minimum of 7 years. But before we get too far into the overview of this whiskey and get into the tasting and whatnot, if you got yourself something from Proof and Wood, maybe you got yourself the senator, the representative, maybe you got some tumbling dice, maybe you got something that's an American rye, a Canadian rye whiskey, you want to pour yourself a dram and drink along with me, please do so. I encourage it. It makes life a heck of a lot better for you guys on the other end, and I enjoy you guys drinking along with me. So like I said, the guys over at Proof and Wood were nice to send this over to me for review, and this one here I kind of left till the end because it is definitely one of the more unique and interesting whiskeys that they sent over to me. Again, it's got the 777. We might as well go right into the profile of the whiskey here. So number one, Crossborder Jackpot whiskey, 777. Again, you got a 7-year-old Canadian blended whiskey in here, a 7-year-old American rye whiskey in here, and 7-year-old Canadian rye whiskey in here. Comes in with an ABV of 53.5% or a proof of 107 proof. And it's a very interesting. They give the makeup on the back here of all the mash bills of each of the whiskeys that were used in here. So the Canadian blended whiskey comes in with a mash bill of 97% corn and 2.7% rye, and then the remainder being barley. The 7-year-old Canadian rye whiskey comes in at 91% rye and 9% barley. And then the American rye whiskey, capping it all off, comes in with a mash bill of 95% rye and 5% malted barley. Very, very interesting here. As far as the sourcing is concerned in all these whiskeys, I couldn't really find a whole lot online. Obviously, they do purchase from MGP, so I can assume that the American rye whiskey is a product of MGP. As far as the Canadian whiskey is concerned there, I asked around a little bit, I checked online. The best I could kind of find was that it probably comes from or is sourced from Alberta distillers, but if that's incorrect and anybody knows, go feel free to put that in the comments below. Really interested to find out where they source that from there, but I couldn't get it out of them. But anyways, let's go on the presentation of this particular bottle of whiskey here in the Crossborder Jackpot and see what we're dealing with here. So it's a different type of bottle than Proof and Wood usually uses. At least it's, I guess, more common to their non-DC collection, which I've only got 2 releases of them, and then I've got this release here. But it's a pretty sleek classic bottle here. The label is very nice. It's kind of an embossed label here. You've got the jackpot or the slot machine logo on it here with the Proof and Wood and the 777. They do explain to you again that it is a 7-year-old Canadian blended whiskey, a 7-year-old American rye, and a 7-year-old Canadian rye that makes this up. They give you the ABV content. And again, on the back here, they let you know, it's a mix of elegant, a mix of silky smooth Canadian mingled with Canadian rye and American rye whiskey, and it gives you the mash bills of everything there. So it gets a nice pass on that. And this particular cork here for Proof and Wood, we're going to get into the pour here in a minute, but it's a great cork. And I mean, nice big synthetic cork, not going to break off, and it is very nice and big and easy to grip onto. So it gets a pass from me in that regard. But with that, let's get into the pour and see what we can get out of the Crossborder Jackpot whiskey here from Proof and Wood. So I'll give this a pour. Doesn't say anything about being natural color. I assume it is. Generally, the products that Proof and Wood does produce are naturally produced, but it doesn't say anything on there about it. So I'm just going to go on the whim and say that it is naturally colored. It's natural colored and probably no chill filtration as well. And being that it is such a high proof, I'm assuming that it's batch release there at that. So we'll go in close and have a look here at the liquid itself here. And it's a really orange tinge there to it there. Again, they don't really explain too much on the casking of this, but it's really got that nice amber, almost like a maple syrup, like a light maple syrup kind of hue to it there. Yeah, very nice indeed. All right, let's get out of the nose and see what we can get out of the nose on the Crossborder Jackpot 777 from Proof and Wood. Let's dive into it. Okay, interesting nose. First off, I'm getting a big dose of orange peel and citrus peels on there. some vanilla in there as well. It's kind of more of a muted vanilla, like a cream vanilla. Get some roasted peanuts in there too, some salted roasted peanuts there. Get some honey and some caramel notes on there as well. Slight alcohol burn, slight ethanol kind of a smell on the end there. Again, it's in the 53% range here. Probably would definitely lend some water to it there, but it is worth noting you do get that little bit of alcohol burn on the nose there, on the aroma. All right, very nice. Let's dive into the taste and see what we can get on the palate for the Proof and Wood Crossborder Jackpot whiskey. So, cheers to your health. Got some American and some Canadian stuff going on in here in this blend. Let's dive into it. Well, you can definitely tell that it's got that high rye content in there. A little spicy on the back. Liquid is relatively thin. Mouth coating, but it is very like a thinner liquid. Smooth drinking, and then that kind of spice bomb at the back end of it there. On the palate, right off the get-go, heavy dose of vanilla and candied oranges. Very much those candied citrus, candied orange peel, vanilla flavors going for their sip. Some honey on there, kind of lending. There's some apples, maraschino cherries or candied cherries in there. Honey, caramel, apples, caramel, apple. Kind of like the cherry is more of a, remember those like the cough drops, the cherry cough drops that you used to suck on when you had a cough there? I used to suck on them a lot there in high school. I don't now, they're too sweet for me, but I get that kind of that synthetic cherry with the cough syrup there. And the back end, go for one more sip here. It's a bit of spice in the back end. Yeah, so the back end, cinnamon, like the red hot cinnamon hearts there. A little bit of clove, a little bit of nutmeg there, but the cinnamon is the big one there, and you do get a little bit of oak in there as well. It's on the back end. It's a little bit washed out, but it is there, and worth noting. Not bitter, just more of that spicy kind of oak to go with the spiciness of the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the clove there, and really, it's a nice tie together. Fairly complex, and you know, as far as the palate goes, you know, it's definitely interesting there. Like those ryes mixed in with that blended whiskey there, you can really definitely tell there's a good hit of rye in it there. But yeah, it is very smooth and very nice drinking, even at 53 and change there. What was it there? 53.5. So yeah, very smooth drinking at that point there. It probably would lend some water. I haven't actually tried it with water, but I'm sure adding some water to it will just open it up a little bit. I really should have tried that prior to the release of this review, but you know, it's definitely something that would probably lend some water to and would just open it up more. But with that, let's get into the finish on the Crossborder Jackpot 777 here from my friends over at Proof and Wood. So I'm gonna go for one more sip of this this blended, I can't call it a world whiskey, this North American whiskey, let's call it there, this blended Canadian and American whiskey. So I'm going for one more sip and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the finish. Okay, finish-wise, for being a hefty dram, for being a big ABV and heavy hitter in that department, relatively short finish. Like I said, flavors are kind of like there. It's mouth coating at the beginning there, mouth watering, but then it just kind of washes away. Flavors begin kind of like kind of heavy with those vanillas and those fruits, and right into that cinnamon punch and that spice, but then it kind of fleets away. And it leaves you wanting more on the palate there for sure. Definitely easy sipping, not overly spicy. As much as the cinnamon is present there, it is not overly spicy. Again, I do think it would lend the water very well and take the water very well. You know, I believe they don't really specify what the blend is. Like they give you the mash bills of it, but they don't give it like is it 33% American rye, 33% Canadian rye, 33% Canadian blended. I think it kind of leans more so on that Canadian blended whiskey and probably more the Canadian rye. I don't know what the percentages are again, but just given the flavor profile, I would tend to kind of lean that there is probably, you know, the Canadian blended whiskey probably occupies a good portion of the bottle. But again, I don't know that for sure, but that's just my inkling based on the profile and based on what I'm tasting here and the aromas and whatnot. It's a decent dram, and I think it kind of serves a place. It's a very, very neat dram. I think it's one of those drams, you know, you could really get into from a celebratory standpoint. You know, my mother won some money this summer, and this was a bottle that I cracked open for her and my godmother when they won some money. You know, just to kind of celebrate that. Was it a good choice? Yeah, it was all right, and you know, I'm quite happy with it. But you know what? All that aside, there we've got some decent flavor profiles, some decent aromas there, and we've discussed the finish. Let's get into the value proposition, because this is a little bit different to find as far as it is in my area, but it's definitely worth kind of looking at that and helping you guys make the decision if this is a bottle you want to go out and grab. So value-wise, this is not available in my area here, or I believe it's not really available in Canada, but it comes in the US, and I believe it sells for about $75 US or $108 in Canada here. In my area, that's a pretty good deal. You know, it's got an age statement on it there. It's a blend of 3 different types of whiskeys, which kind of gives it that bit of nuance, bit of that mystery, or kind of that appeal to it, where you've got 3 different kinds of whiskey blended into a single blend like that. I think that's kind of it. I think this is kind of more of one of these, I don't like to call it a novelty whiskey, but I definitely could see it being more of a celebratory whiskey. Like I said, I cracked this bottle open when my mom won some money, and celebrated with that. And you know, it was a good choice. I wasn't irritated with it. But you know, you go down to Vegas, you hit it big, and you're down there and want to pick up a bottle that's you know, just something fun to have and not going to break the bank. I think this is a place you could definitely go. Cool concept. Really like the fact that they're taking and blending the Canadian and the rye. The name is cool. The packaging is cool. The concept is really neat and really appealing to me. With respect to the actual what's in the bottle here, the liquid in the bottle, I think it kind of falls short. But you know, at $108 or $75 USD with an age statement and whatnot, I think it's worth the adventure. I think it's worth checking out, and definitely something that you might want to try if you can see it out in the wild. If you're lucky enough to see it out in the wild, like I said, I never have, and it's really one of these things that I couldn't find it for sale anywhere in Canada. But you know, down the U.S., I'm sure you guys have seen this before on the shelf, and I think it's worth the experience to go out and seek it out. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. That's my review of the Proof and Wood Crossborder Jackpot 777. Again, guys, 7-year-old Canadian rye, 7-year-old Canadian blended, 7-year-old American rye. All goes into this nice blend here from our friends over at Proof and Wood. So yeah, if you like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskey Wire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. And hey, don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Seaway Whiskey Wire for more content. And if you guys are still hanging around this long into the video here, thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. You know, coming down to the basement after a long day's work there, getting to shoot out some great whiskey here. Really share some interesting whiskey with you guys. Whiskey that you don't always see, at least I don't always see in my area, and a concept that you know, I don't see a lot of American Canadian blends, or you know, North meets South, or the Great White North meets the southern states here. So very, very cool indeed. Probably should have signed off with that one, guys. But hey, yeah, thanks again to Proof and Wood for sending this over. Really appreciate you guys. Really appreciate the partnership with the channel. Some great stuff over there, along with the Crossborder Jackpot. They also sent over the Representative and the Senator, both excellent releases too. You know, what's next on the horizon for this? I don't know. I might try this in a cocktail. I haven't really decided what to put it in yet. I also have shared this with a couple of my friends, just to do some blinds with them and see if they can pick up on anything that's coming out of it. But yeah, very interesting concept, and very cool from the Proof of Wood. So with that, guys, I'll leave you. Take care, all the best, and I'll keep bringing these videos to you as long as I can. Bye for now, guys. Cheers.